Hey, it's Jeff Jarvis here at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism in the heart of the world, center of the universe, Times Square, New York, New York. And it's another episode in our occasional series. We're trying to be less occasional and more regular. dotNYC with an episode of Startup Stories. So I'm really honestly jazzed. When I say I'm jazzed, otherwise I'm not jazzed. But today I'm really jazzed that we have the founders of Jewelbots, Sara and Brooke Moreland. And this is a great startup they'll tell you all about in a second, but what it does is try to go after the holy cause of bringing girls into technology. So I'll just leave it there, and why don't you guys just take it on and tell us what Jewelbots does first.
Yeah, sure thing. So Jewelbots are friendship bracelets, but they are updated friendship bracelets, so we can send messages to each other over Bluetooth. So if you see right now, our bracelets light up because we're in proximity together, and if I want to send Sara a message, I can hit my bracelet 4 taps, and then she'll receive 4 vibrations on her bracelet.
Oh, so it vibrates?
Yeah.
Oh, so nobody, that's why it's a secret message.
Exactly. Like, we know what we're saying. No one even else knows that we're communicating right now. Yeah. She actually did this to me during a meeting yesterday. It was pretty hilarious.
And so your larger goal, though, is to get girls into technology and programming. Explain how this connects to that notion.
Yeah, so the devices are completely open source. So if you use a micro USB, you can plug it into your computer and program it just like an Arduino, if you are familiar with Arduino. And you can program it to do anything you can do with a Bluetooth device and 4 LEDs, microprocessor, and a motor.
Okay. So what are some examples of what I could do with it?
My favorite example is a girl in Seattle who worked on a program. Her 3 minutes between class periods is her most valuable time. So this is like peak socializing time, but she also has the task of getting her books and going to her next class. So she doesn't have time. They're not allowed to have phones. She doesn't have time to like look at a watch for time. So she programmed her Jewelbot to slowly change color over those 3-minute periods, so she knew how much time she had to spend with her friends and get her books.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so this is open source, so she has shared that?
Yeah, we have an online forum where girls can upload the code they've written and copy and improve it and things like that.
What do they use to write? How difficult is writing code for it?
So they use C++.
Wow.
I know. And we were afraid in the beginning that it would be too hard for them. So we hosted several hackathons to kind of test the environment and see how they did, and they fared really well. So they've been killing it.
Yeah, I think one always makes a mistake when we underestimate the people we're working with. And here, when we started the school 10 years ago, I thought the students, it would be too hard to use heavy-duty video stuff, so I just used the basic Mac stuff. And they got mad at me and said, it was like kiddie time. Right? So C++, so once they start working with C++, do they kind of realize, oh, crap, I can do all this other stuff too? I can take over the world?
Yeah, hopefully. That's the idea. we built a library to make it easy for them, so it's like LED.on, and then you pass in a color or something like that. But yeah, they've been really taking the programming concepts really quickly, so that's been exciting.
So the formatting looks like programming?
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely programming.
So they're not scared of that. I mean, even for non-programmers, just to look at it is... because it's foreign. It's
funny, I feel like with the younger audience, I mean, I felt like I was scared when I started looking at what we were doing, like, oh, there's no way kids are going to get that. But kids just take to things really quickly. When we were explaining how to pair the devices and how to message, we said it one time and kids kind of just get it in a way that adults don't. I think they're just grown up with the fluency a little bit more.
So let's talk about the company and you. Yeah. What did you each do before this company?
So before this, I was CTO of a company called Flatiron School, which is an adult education program downtown. Also, I started a nonprofit in 2010 with a friend called Girl Develop It. So
I would be remiss if I didn't also plug one of our entrepreneurial students, graduates here, Autumn Bernier, started Skill Crush, which is also a company to mainly teach women. There was always a debate, by the way, whether to position it as teaching women coding or just teaching coding, and because was that sexist or was that welcome in a bro culture world?
I mean, I was actually a student of some of Sara's classes in the nonprofit, and I really liked kind of just being in a class with women. I felt personally that I could ask questions and be, risk looking dumb and not having people talk over me. I really see the the all-female environment, it can be beneficial when you're learning something.
Do you think, be careful how I say this, well, in a male-dominated teaching environment, do guys try to learn, do they learn differently? Do they teach differently?
I think there's research behind this, right? If you look at even just younger students, putting them in gendered environments, girls tend to fare a lot better than they do in co-ed environments. I think, and I think that might have to do with how we socialize them. There's like so many things that I don't think it's innate. I think it's often just giving them an environment where they feel like they can express themselves is important.
And especially in the bro world of technology, it's an issue. We'll come back to that. Brooke, what did you do before?
Before this, I had another startup called Fascism, which is a photo sharing app around fashion. So people would post what they're wearing, what they're thinking about buying, and have a conversation about it with people all over the world.
I remember it fondly.
Oh, good.
So how did you two meet and come together with this idea?
Yeah, one of my investors at that company introduced me to Sara and said, she's great, hire her, you have to hire her. So we tried. Sara came and did some work for us. We ended up hiring her full time, but we worked together. And then we kind of just, it was really nice. We were building a product mainly for women, to have a female technical person around being like understanding the product in a way that I think some of our male developers didn't. So then we kind of stayed in touch. And then Sara started thinking about stuff around Jewelbots a few years ago, and we met and started talking, and I was like, no, this is what we need to be doing.
How did the idea come up in the first place? Where did it come from?
It wasn't our idea. Well, our idea was we wanted to build for this age group, and we had lots of ideas of like what we could build for them, and they thought those ideas were dumb. We went. The one really fun thing about the age group we're building for is they'll tell you if something's stupid right away. Yeah. They do not feel bad, and it's great. And so we just started asking them what would be fun for you, and as soon as we started talking about the friendship thing, like their faces would just light up, like that is so cool. And that's when we knew like this is something we need to build.
So let's go back for a minute on the issue of women in technology. That is your secret agenda here, right?
Yeah.
Why is it so difficult at every single age group? At CUNY, we have great programs trying to get women into computer science directly, and it proves really difficult. So the argument is you have to get them younger, which I presume what you're doing. But even then, I'm sure you're finding it's difficult. Why? In this day and age, why is that still hard?
I've loosely held strong opinions about this.
Okay.
But so one thing I found, so I was homeschooled until high school, so I wasn't socialized with other girls my age. When I discovered programming, I fell in love with it. And there was never any question to me if it was an environment that was for me or not. Like this is something that's cool, I'm going to do it. That's like how something I always experienced. And being a New Yorker, many of my friends were not socialized in the US. They grew up in other countries and then they came here. And often I talk to them and they say it's so strange how here in the US maybe many women don't think of math and science and technology as something that's for them. I think it's how we socialize the girls in this demographic, which makes them say, that's not something that's for me. I'm not supposed to like this thing, so I'm not going to do it.
What do you think, Brooke?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And we hear this from women and young girls. No one wants to be the only girl in the class. So I think one of the girls we were talking to, in the intro class, it was half girls, half boys. Everyone loved it. And then as soon as it became kind of a more male-dominated space, they lost interest and felt like that it wasn't for them. So
is it because boys are jerks?
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. I don't know why that is.
There's definitely bad eggs everywhere. And so there's definitely bad eggs in the technology field, and I know many people have had bad experiences. I've also had great mentors since the beginning of my career, male mentors that have been really like, okay, we found one. We've got to help her. We've got to help her grow.
Right. Unicorn.
Yeah. So I think that, and I think it's all. No matter who you are, how you identify, or when you're the only one like you in a room, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And people can be perfectly nice, but you still feel like there's a microscope on you all the time. So I think that makes it hard.
we talk a lot. As we're CUNY, we talk a lot about diversity and all of its definitions, and it is difficult. And after this election, I've been worried about the ideological diversity that we don't have. I'm a liberal among liberals, and I'd like to have more conservatives. But then I thought about what it would be like to be the one conservative in a liberal bastion. It would be very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understand that. So, all right. So you came up with the idea. Your future customers told you about it. How did you go about that research of taking a product to kids before you had the product?
Like prototypes, really ugly prototypes.
Yeah, prototypes, and we just spent a lot of time with them asking questions like, what kind, do you wear wearables? Do you wear jewelry? What kind of apps do you like? How do you consume technology? Are you allowed to have a phone? Are you allowed to have a computer? Are you allowed on Snapchat? And just kind of spending time with the ages kind of 8 to 14, which is so much changes in that group. Even from 1 year to the next, we went back to the same group and they had kind of all changed. But like they all had phones. They were all on all the social media, and they were the year before they hadn't. But that's why it's such an interesting time, because that's where they're really forming their interests and opinions, and that's why we think it's such a crucial time to kind of get in there.
So just stay on this for another minute, because I think one of the things that we try to teach here in entrepreneurial journalism is listening to your market. And it's one of the hardest things to get across is don't come with your presumptions, don't come with what you already think and know somebody wants. We started a new degree in social journalism, which is all about listening to the community. Same difference, same thing. As an entrepreneur, talk for a minute about the skills of listening and the right way to do that.
Yeah, no, that's hugely important, because we're creating something not for us. We haven't been teenage girls for a while, and we didn't grow up with this technology. So it really has all been about listening. Like Sara said, the original idea was totally different. Yeah, and we have to keep listening. That's the thing. It's easy to generalize after you talk to hundreds of people, but I think we always have to have our ear out to how things are changing.
I think we're lucky that we also have a really fun demographic. I mean, like, they're the best.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you get in a room with like a ton of 11-year-old girls, and they are like, so it's like contagious how excited
really
they are about
energizing.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
What have you learned from what they've made? From being open source and having the community out there, what surprises have you had from that kind of listening once the product is out?
That's a really good. The things that we think are interesting are not so interesting to them.
Okay.
Like, I really like the idea of, of being notified when I have a new email or a new.
They like to be notified about the Instagram likes, though. That's something we all share.
Yeah.
We all kind of need that little serotonin burst.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I feel like that would be the main focus for me, and
Yeah.
the main focus for them is more around friendship and like, how could I make this change for a particular friend and things like that. Those relationships are so important to them.
So it's when they get in proximity of each other, when they can send each other messages.
Yeah.
How else does it bond the friendship?
Well, also signaling to other people that, like, ours are both blue, so we're a unit, we're tied. And that's something as adults probably is not as important or at all.
Or
but
more secretive about it.
Exactly. But the girls, like, showing off, like, hey, we're in a squad. This is our group. It's important to them.
How many can be tied together?
16, I think, at a time.
16?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
That's a tough thing to test. So in theory,
Yeah.
16.
So you bought, how much does the unit cost?
69.
69 bucks. So it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It's like the same price as a video game. That's how we look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're with it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheaper than a lot of other wearables you'll find on the market right now.
So, but it's interesting. For it to be useful, I mean, it's the old fax machine network problem,
Right.
One is pretty much worthless. Not worthless, but not. It's
not
exponentially
as fun.
more fun
Oh, yeah.
as the network grows. So you've got to convince your friends
Exactly.
to get the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we sell them in bundles and bestie packs and encourage people to get your friend to buy one. As soon as you buy one, we'll give you a
Right.
discount, refer them, because it's a good way to grow the community, obviously, but it does make it so much more fun the more
It is.
people that have it.
Buy it, like this guy has the same chipset as the Apple Watch. So this is like an Apple Watch. It can do anything an Apple Watch can do, but without a screen.
Right.
But like, how fun is your Apple Watch? It's not as fun with that.
Right. In fact, my Android watch died.
Oh.
And so for the first time in my life, I haven't worn a watch, and it's very strange. And I've got to figure out how to go back.
Are you going to go back to normal watch? Or?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Walk around here. I could have used it during the election for fellow Hillary voters. Yeah. I'm blue. So I saw on your site that you're now available in Target. Tell me about, and you were a Kickstarter project. Yeah. So tell me about that string of marketing from the very earliest days of an idea to being in retail. So start with the Kickstarter and before.
Yeah, Kickstarter is really fun. We really enjoy doing that because the audience really wants to know the whole process and where you are and behind the scenes and if you're just working on it. So on our Kickstarter page, we showed like initial sketches and like this is a really big, ugly, clunky prototype we have. So that was really fun, helping us build like a base audience who was we knew was rooting for us and really interested in the idea. And then in the year and a half between the Kickstarter and getting the product out, that's when we had to do, more testing, then dealing with the logistics of actually getting the product made, and that was the toughest time.
So what were your numbers on the Kickstarter campaign?
We sold 5,000 units, I believe. We raised 180,000.
And your goal was what?
30,000.
30,000.
Yeah.
Now, was that, be honest, was that engineered that you knew 30,000 is easy? And
I thought that was attainable because we don't want to not hit it because then you don't get funding, right? So I thought 30,000, if we get 50, awesome. If we get 100, it'll be killer. So we passed 30 in the first day, and I was like, okay, this is cool.
That's neat.
Up to the Kickstarter, is what I see now pretty much what it looked like?
No, it's going to have a lot of different iterations before the Kickstarter and after.
And after, okay.
And there'll be more in the future too. It's a work in progress.
How much do the aesthetics of the look matter? Because the technology is the hard part to figure all that out, but once you've got that, this is about aesthetics too.
It really is, and it's always a trade-off, right? So first we were optimizing because we wanted a really long battery, but then we had a big old clunky wearable that no one wants on their wrist. But then you can't make it too small because it needs to work.
Right.
So it's constant.
I love it because it's ours, but this is definitely like another situation where user feedback, like, I did not want the flower. What we learned from them is like lots of different things, including the fact that like precious metals don't really mean much to them. This kind of look, like the plastic, something that's washable is very important. But more than anything, we had them vote on the charm design, and they overwhelmingly picked the flower.
So they voted?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had about a few dozen sketches that we sent them. And they voted.
And the next one's a robot, though.
The next one's a robot.
Really?
Yeah.
But I was like, come on, you're giving me a flower. I've got to go tell your parents that I like made you a thing with the flowers.
Yeah.
Code. Like, come on, guys, like work with me here.
But I do like that notion of collaboration. There was a company. Have you ever heard of Local Motors? They do crowd-designed cars, which sounds absurd. It sounds like the Homer Simpson mobile, right? But they set up a structure to do this so that you have input from people, and your customers will make design and economic choices with you.
That's so
if
cool.
you give them the chance, right? And you can listen in new ways. All right, so you win the Kickstarter, hallelujah. What are the steps that it then took? Mark Andreessen says software is going to take over the world. And here you are in hardware, a hard business. What all did it take from then on?
A lot. One thing, so we had a working prototype at the time, and we were going to go to market with it. This is something that we designed using working with a firm on the West Coast. And when we started user testing it after the Kickstarter, what we observed was our wrists are smallish wrists. But if you're a 9 or 8-year-old, your wrist is a really tiny wrist. So while it was only a little bigger than a quarter, it was too big for their small wrist. It would hang over the sides, and we were like, "Oh no!" So we did another iteration, and we got here. But hardware is really difficult. Yeah, you're battling the laws of physics all the time.
Yeah, because then you're also building software as well. So you have that. It's not either or. It's like It's like all of the software plus getting it, manufacturing and shipping and tariffs and just things like that you never think about in software.
So how does that? It's a great age for startups where you don't have to build a factory. You can use everybody else. You can use outside design, outside marketing, outside manufacturing, outside distribution. But who helps you through all of those relationships?
That's a great question. So we did a hardware accelerator called Highway 1 on the West Coast. And they are associated with a company called PCH. And they had a lot of people on their team work with us because it was my first foray into hardware. And so they have full-time, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, different people on staff who can help you both with the prototyping process as well as the bringing it to market, which was super helpful. And we couldn't have done it without them.
Mm-hmm. Where do you manufacture?
In China.
China, right. I guess I have to ask these days, do you have fear about a Trump tariff? I guess so.
I don't know if the tariff is our biggest fear. It's like
among the list of Trump fears, professionally and personally, that's definitely on there.
That's one for you, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because what would it cost to manufacture that in the U.S.?
3 times the amount.
3 times.
Yeah.
We've definitely traced it out here first.
Really?
Yeah, to see.
We thought about doing even the first batch out here, but it would just cost prohibitive. It's just not possible. We could, we'd be charging hundreds of dollars, and that's not what people want to pay for a kid's product.
All that labor?
Yeah.
Is it just labor cost? That's it? Jeez. Wow. Is there a tariff now on something that you...
Not specifically for this.
Not specifically. But you had to navigate all of that.
Yeah, and we ship to 35 countries, and there's like...
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so not just here, because anybody could come out and buy it. 35 countries you ship to.
Yeah.
Wow. Where besides the United States is a hot market for you?
Europe and Canada and Australia.
Okay, right. All right, so you go through the process of finding the manufacturer, getting the design done, getting all that crap done. Then comes shipping day, right? How long did that process take? How long did you think it was going to take?
We blocked this out. No, I mean shipping day was about 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
So this part is the fun.
Because I've been reading about this company for some time.
We've been working on it for
it's really
2.5 3 years.
Mazel tov.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So the ideation and the going back to the drawing board and testing, all that's been about 3 years.
Oh wow.
In the making. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're shipping now.
And then we start shipping in mid-November.
So have you shipped all of your backers?
Yes.
So you're caught up.
Yeah.
We're caught up. Some are probably still in transit to other countries, but yes, they're all out our door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I can order at your site.
Yeah, and then get it.
And the URL is?
Jewelbots, Jewelbot, like a robot.com.
Okay. And so Target too.
And then Target.com, just search for Jewelbots. And
so Target.com, is it also available in the stores? Or?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Potentially next year.
So what did it take to get into the Target? For God's sake, Target, Jesus,
No, Target was a great get for us. We got introduced to them about 1.5 years ago, and it was always kind of been on our list. We think it's a great store and it's a good fit for our audience. So we just kind of kept a dialogue, and then we were kind of getting close to shipping. They were like, sure, let's make it happen for holidays, and we kind of just got it done. But they're excited. They have a lot of STEM tools and toys, on their site, so they're excited about Jewelbots.
What other kinds of retail channels and marketing partners work for something like this?
Yeah, there's a lot of cool potential here. So this little charm and band are interchangeable. So these could be different, branded with all sorts of different things, and characters and teams and whatnot. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff now that we're out in the market, what we can explore next year.
What about educational players? I presume you're getting some support from STEM advocates?
Definitely. And we have a lot of teachers and different coding schools. We have a lot of interest there. We need to figure out how we can make that work the best way.
We've been doing an educational discount for people that want to buy a whole bunch.
And we really want to do more hackathons. That's also on deck for next year. Those are so fun. And now that, we don't need to be there now that there is this community in our devices, so people can host their hackathons in different cities. Maybe do one day where everyone has one on the same day.
Hackathons with 12-year-olds or
yeah. During the day.
Yeah. Still pizza.
Yeah, still pizza. We had really fun. It was called Take Your Daughter to Hack Day, where kids and parents came and hacked together. It was really cool.
It was fun. Cried. We had face painters come, and we had all kinds of cool DIY craft material that they could use. And there's all these really stoked 10-year-olds with these awesome painted faces running around and coding and stuff.
Wow. Any schools take it on, you think, as curriculum?
Yeah. I think that's possible. I think we're trying to weigh when you're that age, when you're that age and an adult tells you to use something and something is cool, you're not into it.
Not cool.
So I think that we may but it's so exciting that schools are into it. So I think we're going to work with the schools to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. I've got a great middle school computer instructor. I'll tell you about him. Steve Isaacs in Basking Ridge, New Jersey.
Great.
It's because of him that my son became a developer.
Really?
Yeah, he used to run a town just computer center where some of the kids came in to play games, some of the kids came in to geek out. And, a high school boy took my son under his wing with programming, and I thought he was learning it all wrong. I thought, well, I don't program beyond basic. And I thought you're supposed to chart everything out and plan everything and do all this. And no, it was tear apart the toaster. Right? Take the things out of the software to see what makes it break. And that's how he learned to code. And this is a guy and his wife who ran this, mostly boys. But in the school itself, in the middle school, you can just get great stuff going. That's so cool. So I think if you can get the spirit of hacking through the school, that this is a little subversive.
I like that.
With the teacher, it'd be fun. So you're 3 weeks shipping. Hallelujah. What's next for this product?
I think we're planning events probably in February of next year. So I think that's a big thing. I think we're also going to over the holiday break take a big deep breath. But yeah, I think we're looking forward to kind of getting the word out next year.
What's next for the company then?
Next for the company, we're going to keep going on the product, iterating, listen to how our users use it, and keep trying to improve it.
We're releasing our new charms as well. The next charm's a little robot guy, and then we're going to have some characters as well next year.
So the charm just is interchangeable on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're really easy. They just come right off. Boop.
And so they really like to personalize their stuff. So different color bands and being able to switch these things out is really fun for them.
Can I 3D print the charm?
Yeah, actually, we're going to be releasing the design of the robot charm before we release this one. So if you want to print it at home, you can.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Bill Gross, has I think it's a $300 3D printer now. Which works beautifully.
So cool.
That's so great.
From Idea Lab, and you can do so much now.
Yeah.
That also makes 3D printers real.
Yeah.
See, I have it because I'm geeky, but what the hell do I do with it?
Right.
Now I can make charms.
Yes, exactly.
I can go into business. All right. So properly, you're concentrating on this product as well. You should. But if you thought about other products that you could make now, knowing where this market is, where would you see that going? What are the opportunities?
That's a good question, and we talk about this all the time. And the answer always changes.
Yeah, I think that there's something really different. So Jewelbots is the only wearable that you can use that's both open source. First of all, there's no open source wearables out there. Second of all, that you communicate from device to device.
Yes, through Bluetooth, by the way, right?
Yeah, through Bluetooth. And so I think that's really exciting. I think there's lots of things you can do with that. I think that there's many situations where we can't depend on a cell network, as well as the fact that communication is, there's something in hardware called the turnaround test, which is if I leave home without it, will I turn around? I'm all the way to the car, do I go back and get it? And your phone always passes the turnaround test. You're not going to leave it. And it's because you use it to communicate. Also, you surf the web and things like that. But so I think there's all kinds of different neat stuff we can build around communication and wearables.
Oh, I like that. All right, so talk to me about doing a company in New York. Why are you here first? Just because you're New Yorkers?
Yes. Yes. There's a lot going on in Silicon Valley, of course, but we're New Yorkers. We love it here.
Yeah.
We live here, and there's a lot of cool stuff. There's cool companies here, a lot of women-founded companies, and I think the network there is really strong.
What are some of the other women-founded companies?
There's tons. The Muse, Loverly, Little
Lola,
Bits, Lola, The Skim.
Do you all get together?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. We all, there's various, for women entrepreneur events, both formal and informal. And I think a lot of them that we've met have been really helpful. Everyone wants to see each other succeed. And I feel like I can call on any of those women and be like, I need an intro to this person, or I need this, and they'll answer a call.
So we've talked about being a girl or a woman when it comes to technology. Talk about being a woman as an entrepreneur. Are there is because we know about the problems of bro culture in Silicon Valley. We know how male dominated investing is. Be honest, be blunt.
I think in New York, I stayed out in San Francisco for about 4 months, so this is my anecdotal experience. But what I found is New York is so much friendlier to female founders. I had people just walking up to me like strangers and saying the worst things and being like, oh my gosh, this is really true. You read these articles and it was just kind of ridiculous. But here in New York, I think people are really welcoming, and no one, everyone's conscious of like, yeah, it probably stinks that there's not a lot of you. So I might be a little nicer to you than I need to like.
I don't want to pry, but what kinds of horrible things would people say?
It would just be like it would be like, oh, it's just gross. When you're making a hardware product and like you would just talk to people about hardware, everyone wants to make it sexual for some reason, and it would just be awful.
Okay, I got it. All right, yeah.
And I'd be like, are you serious? Like, just met you 3 minutes ago. Yeah.
So after time in California, you weren't tempted to stay in Lotus Land?
No, not really.
Neither.
I mean, the weather's sometimes better.
We say this on a very cold day. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, New York's got so much else going on, and everyone's not just talking about tech all the time, which is a little bit like, it gets a little bit annoying.
What excites us too is you're a living example of this. Is it's the intersection of technology in other areas, the intersection of technology and fashion and education, which is you, right?
Yeah.
And that's I think what New York has to specialize in.
Absolutely.
Is bringing these disparate groups together.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
What do you need as a startup?
Money.
So where are you in fundraising?
I mean, as everyone needs money.
Everyone needs money,
and us, of course. So we raised about $1 million back, and then startups are always kind of raising because you can just do so much more. It's great that we're selling a product and we have money now, but we have big dreams, so we want to really kind of blow it out.
Are you raising around?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that a problem? A lot of the investors I like, I don't do hardware.
Yeah, that's a thing. But honestly, we always say we'd rather hear that in the beginning.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing I hear is I don't do media.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think there are people that focus on hardware and they have like the resources to help you. I think people that don't do hardware, I mean, like for a good reason, they haven't ever built something in hardware, or they haven't. And I mean, that's also probably pretty nice that they're not going to like get involved in a project that they don't know too much about.
Right.
But yeah.
I got to ask one more question.
Yeah.
Have you applied for Shark Tank?
We've talked. We've talked to the Shark Tank folks.
I figured you should be perfect for it.
Yeah, and maybe in the future. It's never been the right time for this reason or that reason, but I'm a fan of the show. I watch it all the time, so that's kind of why I don't want to do it. So I think it's kind of horrifying, but I think it could be great. We might do it in the future.
Yeah.
So I actually show Shark Tanks to my entrepreneurial students because it does get you into a discipline of pitching. How much reality is there to Shark Tank in terms of if you're sitting out there in the world watching the show and don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur?
There's a lot of realistic parts into it. It doesn't happen that quick. You don't just go in for 20 minutes and they're like,
decision.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Here's your evaluation. So that's drawn out painfully over months and months. But kind of the skepticism, kind of not meanness, but just impress me. That's your job, to be on and impressive and have all your numbers and be ready for the trick questions and all of that. That's, I think, good prep, and I think that's how it is.
What would they say to you?
Oh God.
What would the sharks say to us?
Yeah, what would they say?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question.
They'd ask about your sales, so you have provable sales, you have provable demand, you're in a major retail outlet. Mr. Wonderful would probably try to argue you should license it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not going to license it, you're going to hold on. Is this your product, are you going to hold on to it?
We're not going to license the technology, but we'll do licensing as far as the...
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be my answer for Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah. I think you should do it because I think obviously the reason to do it is marketing. It'd be incredible exposure.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. All right.
We'll keep an eye out for us there.
Okay, we'll do. All right. I'm really grateful you came in. I have been reading about the company from the early Kickstarter days, and I'm delighted you're a success story. You're out there shipping. This is great. So Sara Chips and Brooke Moreland from Jewelbots.
Yes.
And that's it for another episode of dotNYC Startup Stories. We are still on a regular schedule. I'm traveling. We've got holidays. We've got all kinds of mishigas. But I'm not Jewish, but I like to use a little bit of Yiddish. It's a great language. And so I'm not sure what I can tell you we have coming next. We'll figure it out when we do. Just watch the Twitter feeds, dotNYC show. Jeff Jarvis, I'll plug it anytime I can. And please let your friends know about dotNYC. Look at our YouTube feed. Look at some of our earlier shows. The other show we tend to do is the Friendly Shark Tank because we have no money. We have to be friendly. So keep an eye out for that. And thanks very much. Hey.